We are on to week 6. Samantha, we are on to the waiver wire. Let's start at the quarterback position. Now, everyone has different formats in their league. Maybe you need 2 quarterbacks. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's 4 points, touchdown versus 6 and all of that. But, we've had Matthew Stafford, where that Rams offense looks like, unless it's Higbee or Kupp, they don't know what they're doing. And we also have buys starting next week, Samantha. We've extolled the virtues of a guy like Jared Goff and that offense, which until yesterday was one of the higher scoring teams in the NFL. The Lions will be on a buy, among others. So there will be people looking for quarterbacks on the waiver wire. Who are some of those that are on your radar?
I just want to say that in regards to the Rams, I literally slacked someone and said, hey, Matthew Stafford's going to take 5+ sacks in this game. And it was Brandon Anderson, who's from the Action Network. And he was like, damn, that's a lot. And of course, he takes 5 sacks in that game. That offensive line is absolutely dreadful. So I hate the Rams right now. They're dead to me. But in terms of potential, maybe Matthew Stafford replacements if you need someone, because he was a top 12 quarterback drafted. So I think like Geno Smith comes to mind as the top guy. He is 35% roster. He made it into my look ahead waiver wire column on Friday. He almost made it into my start sit, but I just chickened out last minute because I thought the Saints were going to at least hold them a little bit more in check. Obviously high scoring game, really fun for fantasy. He ended up with 3 touchdowns, each from 35+ yards, which I thought was super interesting. They were really like crazy touchdowns. I was like, I can't believe this guy is threading the needle like that. So from the eye test alone, I mean, he looks really impressive. He's definitely a good streaming option week 6 and beyond. They face the Cardinals, whose defense entered last week bottom 5 in pass DVOA. So I think that he could definitely be a viable streamer. If you're looking elsewhere, I mean, Carson Wentz did have a nice day. This guy is like Ricky Bobby, like first or last. he was the QB3 and QB5 in weeks 1 and 2 in soft matchups. Then he faces 2 difficult defenses, QB 30 and QB 27, and he's back at it. I believe he's QB 5 right now heading into Monday night. So hopefully you get the first side of that, not the last. But he that's just to be expected with a Carson Wentz team. Like, it's ugly. You don't want to watch the game, you just want to look at the results at the end.
Yeah, fair enough. Mike, let me ask you about 2 quarterbacks specifically. Samantha mentioned Geno Smith, and you were there with Seattle there, yesterday. And like, do we believe in Geno Smith? I mean, the throw to Lockett was absolutely a dime for the touchdown. And you did have some nuggets on Seattle vis-a-vis Kenneth Walker. And I wonder, Pete Carroll wants to run the ball, but Seattle is putting up points, and Geno, like, take this again from a Jets fan. I saw Geno Smith and never thought he would be a legitimate starting quarterback in this league. Is it time for us to write letters of apology and believe in Geno Smith?
It's hard not to. I mean, the big number coming into that game was that he completed 77% of his passes, and he was like setting some sort of NFL record through 4 weeks. You would expect that from somebody who's dinking and dunking. He was letting it fly, and Samantha's exactly right. I mean, if you just find like the tweets of the touchdowns, they were gorgeous throws deep down the field. His best throw might have been a deep pass to Noah Fant, throwing it across his body. That wasn't even one of the touchdowns. And obviously he's got deep playmakers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And we talked about game script earlier. The other thing that definitely lived up to its reputation yesterday was the Seahawks defense being so porous. So they now don't have Rashad Penny anymore, and they have maybe the 32nd best defense in the NFL. He's going to be letting it fly all season. He's absolutely the guy I would be looking to. I'm seeing the list of available quarterbacks. He stands out way above all of them for me.
No, that's interesting. And thinking about a bad defense, because that quarterback will then be in shootout or garbage time situations. I'm reminded of a year where Blake Bortles was like a top 5 fantasy quarterback for Jacksonville.
That's a good comp for Geno Smith.
It's true. It kind of is, if you want to know the truth. I have one other quarterback I do want to ask you about, Mike, because it's in that division, the NFC South as well. Samantha has brought up the name Marcus Mariota a few times in this kind of spot. And I wonder about Atlanta. I wonder if they're overperforming. I wonder if they're going to, turn back into a pumpkin at midnight. And I wonder if we fast forward into November, December, are we going to see Desmond Ridder? Do you have any thoughts on what Arthur Smith and the Falcons are thinking about their quarterback situation?
Yeah, I wouldn't invest in him
Okay.
as more than a bye week replacement for that reason, because Ritter looms. But the team has been way more competitive, I think, than anyone expected, which is weird because we haven't seen Kyle Pitts do anything yet. We haven't seen Drake London live up to the potential he showed early in the season. They didn't even have Cordero Patterson. So I don't know where this offense is coming from. Mariota's a running quarterback and he's not really putting up big points, but yeah, I mean, he's with his ability to get the, 5 points rushing the ball and even more if he scores. And if those guys come back healthy, I mean, I like him. I see his name next to, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett. I'd take him over those guys. I mean, because
it's all
they
relative.
can score in different ways. The team has been way more competitive than I think anyone expected.